Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back once again. We are doing another national team interview for the tournament EuroBowl in Greece this year, 2024. And today I am going to be joined by the Greek team captain, as well as one of the Greek vice captains who is on the organizational side in the tournament. And please do introduce yourself, Mr. Captain.
Uh, Good evening. Thank you for having us. This is cdassak. Well, that's my nickname,
Mm.
enough. And I am the captain of the Greek team for the second straight EuroBowl.
Hello, everyone. I'm Vabap or Alex. Uh, Goes with Vabap for games,
Mm.
and I'm one of the vice captains of Team Greece. Not this year because I'm into the organizing committee.
And we all thank you for your efforts. We know that it's a big thing to be organizing, EuroBowl, and especially with EuroBowl getting bigger and bigger every year. So I thank you both for making time to come on over and give me this interview. Hopefully, there have been a little bit of in the previous streams. There have been a little bit of volume issues. I've been sometimes quiet, and my quests have sometimes been too quiet as well. Hopefully, like I've tried to fiddle with them, and hopefully everything's fine now. Hopefully everyone's coming in loud and clear. Volume is good, wonderful. Thank you, Bork. But without further ado, shall we start with you, Mr. Captain? Can you tell us a little bit, like, what is your sort of Blood Bowl background, as well as like your background in the Greek national team itself?
Okay, I first played Blood Bowl in my university years, the third edition, early
Mm.
90s.
Mm.
I stopped for several years and came back thanks to Fumble in 2013.
Mm.
I only played online for many years, and I got introduced to the Greek, let's say, tabletop scene
Mm.
by our former captain and the head of the organizing committee, Optimus Prime,
Mm.
who won't be playing this year. And after that, actually, he was supposed to be the captain also in EuroBowl Malta, but halfway, let's say, about a year before that, he just handed me over the duties, and I remain the captain for this tournament also.
Fair enough. And you as well, Mr. Vice Captain. What's your
Yeah,
sort of like?
well, again, from university years, I've been into board games, word games, card games.
Mm.
I stick mostly into, let's say, miniature war games. And then one day I met the previous country representative of NAF,
Mm.
Optimus Prime, and previous captain.
Mm.
And we started, talking, and he introduced me in Blood Bowl. I started playing Blood Bowl. I saw a game that I had heard, I had seen, but I had never tried it.
Mm.
And from that day on, it kept me. Um, I've been in many tournaments in Greece. I have organized also some tournaments since now I am the NAF country representative.
Mm.
But EuroBowl Malta was my first international Blood Bowl tournament.
Mm.
And I'm very happy because in the previous EuroBowl, our national team won great. We finished fourth, and it was a huge success and something that we were not expecting to go that far. We have trust in our team, but we didn't expect to go that far.
Mm. Yeah.
So we are both actually the successors of Optimus Prime because he was both a captain and a tournament organizer for the first years, let's say.
Mm. And it's sounds like he was also doing, like, maybe not as part of official duties, but like recruiting people over to Blood Bowl as well, which is good. Like community management and like bringing in new people who are interested is very much like the heart of the hobby, I would say.
Sure. He managed to expand a lot the community, and hopefully we will do the same. Now Optimus Prime is the organizing committee leader of EUROBOWL Athens.
Mm.
And in the next few days, I hope that every visitor here will have a great time.
Mm. Certainly, I hope so as well. We have EUROBOWL from Team Greece in the chat yelling, "Team Greece, let's go!" Nice to see enthusiastic team members.
Hello, EUROBOWL.
Yeah. He's the Coronate player on the Greek team, which is Corn not being a very popular choice so far from the rosters that we've seen. So tell me a little bit about like how are the rest of the team in Greece, like are they kind of similar to you in that like maybe not as much like international tournament play, but like inside Greece play?
We are an isolated community.
Mm.
So let's say for most of us, EuroBowl Malta was the first time we played tabletop against foreigners.
Mm-mm.
We had some presence in the previous World Cup in Austria, and also in the our first EuroBowl was Wales. We had two freebooters there. But generally, for most of the people, Malta was the first. Actually, for all the team, it was the first, and some of them are even new. They didn't play in Malta, and so this is one of the main issues that we only get to play foreigners in online play, especially Fumble. And this has helped us a lot to, let's say, to develop our skills and to face strong opposition, etc., etc.
Yeah, I can unlike compared to say like the British Isles or like France and Central Europe, like where I feel it's probably fairly easy to keep tabs on, like if there's like in a neighboring country, if there's a tournament going on, if you're nearby and you can get there. I can understand that in Greece that might be much more difficult to get that sort of international play. We have also Joel GG and Vradipos. I have no idea how I'm supposed to pronounce that, but also represented members of the Greek team making their presence felt here in the chat. Appreciate you coming by. But yeah, shall we move on? Unless you have anything else that you'd wish to say, I think we're going to be moving on to taking a look at the coaches in particular, as well as their roster.
Yeah, let's
go. Yeah.
All right. We'll start at the very top here. We have Casual. I assume that's casual. Playing for the Amazons for the Greeks. So, looking at this, they've opted for Amazon like rosters from what we've seen have been pretty similar a lot of the times. But this is, I think there's only been two Amazons that have decided to go more for the fouling approach with the dirty player and the bribe. Is that how much? Like, just sorry to interrupt, but how much do you guys sort of like leave it up to the coaches themselves to decide like the sort of roster, or do you get together and talk through of like this would be good, this we need this, etc.
We generally talk all the rosters and not just the captain and the player, all the national team. We have a channel that we exchange, let's say, opinions. But in the end, I always leave it to the player to have the final choice. He knows, let's say, the choices that he has to do, but I always leave it to the player because most important is how the coach feels comfortable with what, let's say.
Yeah.
So we went the dirty player way. It's not common, but there are other 5 teams that went this way, Amazon teams, I mean. And Casual also is one of our strongest players. He became third in our internal rankings. He also performed very well in Europe and Malta. I think he was 7th overall with Dwarves.
Yeah.
He played there. And but it's his first appearance, let's say, in the first team, in the national team. He has also gone the wrestle way with
with
the
one of the
blitzers.
blitzer. Yeah.
Yeah, I ran a check also. So about there are 12 wrestle blitzers in EuroBowl Amazon wrestle blitzers. So at least 11 teams. Okay, maybe someone has a double wrestle. I think the Welsh captain yesterday said that he prefers a double wrestle,
Yeah, he
but
did.
he went.
I believe, there has at least been one Amazon team, I cannot remember which roster it was, that decided to go both block on the blitzer as well. Wrestle, like, has been, a lot of the time, has been given over to the line woman, but I see that you have a block wrestle there, like, as a combo. I personally, I think, prefer the line women to have wrestle, but I can definitely see just having another blodger, like, even if they are a line woman, absolutely can see use of it.
Yeah, I prefer also the double block on the blitzers.
Amazons are one of the very versatile teams.
Yes.
So at the end, it really depends on the coach, on the player, what he feels more comfortable.
Yeah. But yeah, there has been some talk about having one or potentially even two of the strength 4 blockers with guard, not with guard, but rather with block. But I'm personally definitely of the opinion that you do need the 2 guard in an Amazon team. Just having like one or not having any guard at all, I think that makes the play style that I associate with Amazons is more sort of pressure, more aggressive, and you just need the guard for that, I think.
Sure.
It depends. Also, it's a matter of play style. Actually, I also checked, let's say, this dilemma about the Amazon roster, and there are actually 10 blockers. Let's say Amazon blockers. I know the Norwegians have 2. I think the Norwegian team has all block. Didn't take any guard on Amazons. So at least, let's say, 9 teams decided to give a block to the blocker. And personally, I also prefer this. With the extra skill, I played the block guard on the blockers and I used the guard on a line woman. But again, it's a matter of personal.
I like a lot the guard defensive combo, to be honest, because you don't really see defensive in other teams, like a chosen skill, since no other positional begins with defensive. So the guard defensive combo is really great, and sometimes it's a bit of a pain for the opponent.
Yeah, certainly understandable. Thank you, Mr. Shoal GG. He has just given me a follow. Much appreciated. But moving on, I think Amazons are one of those teams that there's always going to be, like, there's some room for, like, coach's preference on what to do. But I would assume that most Amazon teams are going to look fairly similar with, like, the skills that they're going to. Another such team is the Dark Elves, and we have the coach here to tell us about his thoughts. And I do definitely like the fact that you're bringing in a runner. I am very much a fan of the Dark Elf runner as well, and gives you that nice third reroll with the leader.
Actually, this is exactly the roster I played in Malta. The leader, the runner leader, let's say, it's I'd say common. I think about more than 60% of the teams, the EuroBowl Dark Elf teams, okay, have it. And okay, then let's say the minority is the double wrestle, actually. But again, it suits my playstyle more, and I saw a great Italian player use it, D-Roll. He's also on their team. And let's say I jumped on that double wrestling bandwagon.
We have Hitchhiker76 in the chat. Good luck to all players, but may Nuffle bless Greek team's dice. I'm sure that every player on every team is praying for that Nuffle blessing. We all know how wicked the dice can be. Just when you need it, you roll a double one when you just needed a two. One of the things that does jump out about this Dark Elf roster in specific is that you do not have any assassins. Assassins, like either one or we've even seen double assassin rosters. So, like, assassin seems to be fairly popular. What are your thoughts on why not on an assassin?
Well, actually now that I've seen, the rosters, the
Mm.
Euro, I think maybe that I should have gone this way
Mm.
because of the meta. There
Yeah.
are a lot of soft targets
Yeah.
for the assassins.
Yep.
But I played the old reliable, my Malta roster.
Mm.
Um, I have tried the assassins, but this is, let's say, why I decided to go this way, play safe.
Yeah.
It might also have to do with the play style in our tournaments. Usually, our tournaments can be considered bash heavy. For an assassin, although let's say that his secondary skill, shadowing, might work more because backy teams have less movement. Stab is more of a bet.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can work, sometimes, the majority of the times, actually, it doesn't.
Yeah.
To be honest, maybe a year or two ago, I tried also to play Dark Elves, and I was like 11 players, double assassins. I didn't have a good time. Although I've seen other coaches gain huge victories and assassins playing a big part in it. Sometimes, it has to do with your local meta and what you feel comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I personally, like, I've played a fair amount of Dark Elves, and like I was one of the few Dark Elf coaches, like even before the move to Blood Bowl 2020, that I like to sometimes bring an assassin, like just because like he was good into those soft targets, and the shadowing could catch people off guard sometimes. But like with the movement increase on like getting them to the movement 7 on the assassins, a lot of people have been liking assassins so far. So the fact that you don't have any is interesting. But I do think that like when it comes to a Blood Bowl roster, like how comfortable the coach is playing that roster, I think is the most important aspect of it, because like even if like on paper you have a very strong roster, if you as a coach feel unsure about it, or like haven't practiced it, it might serve you way worse than like if you went back to that old and reliable that you know how to play.
Yeah, you're right about that. But okay, assassins are popular. They are more popular than Malta, but still they are not a majority. I mean, more than half of the teams don't have the assassin. We see double assassin. Of course, a lot of quality players
Yeah.
do field them. So maybe the meta is going towards the assassin.
Yeah, I think out of the sort of rosters that we've looked at so far, I cannot remember any Dark Elf team did not have at least one. So, but as I said, you've explained your reasoning, I think, well enough on like just falling back on that old and reliable, and like again, yeah, definitely like a meta. If you're like used to going up against bash teams, yeah, I agree that like an assassin can definitely be much more of a liability than it is.
The assassin has
Yeah,
to compensate, actually, because either you need to give him a skill to protect himself, like a dodge or block. Because if you let him without anything, then he's a squishy target.
Yeah.
It's an armor value 7 piece, positional that people usually hunt.
Yeah.
Because even if you make one casualty, even a KO, actually, it's a removal from the game, you have another advantage.
Yeah.
And that might be the only thing you need to win a game.
Yeah. Certainly. We have Super Mario 26 in the chat saying, hello from Dead's World. Mindlocker is also here. Mindlocker being another Greek roster member. welcome, welcome.
Exactly.
Hope you enjoy. All right.
All right. Just before we move on, there is also what Alex said. There is also a trend to skill the assassins, because now, if I just check the skill
Yeah.
position choice, and
Mm.
there are 4 dodge assassins
Yeah.
in EUROBOWL.
Yeah.
So people start to invest skill points also
Yeah.
on them.
That is true. But yeah, will be interesting. Interesting to see. Like again, Dark Elves and Amazons are similar in that, like, a lot of the time it's gonna be a very similar looking roster. Just the skill choices do sort of differ from. We have.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need your help because I'm on the next name
Actually,
that we have.
it's his name. It's Di Straziani. So it's the first is his let's say the first letter of his name, and then his surname.
Yeah.
For me, it's also the same. It's C. It's I'm Christos. This is my name, and
Yeah.
the other is my surname.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he is also a first appearance in the national team. He didn't also play in Malta. But he's a strong player. He went for humans, and actually this roster is a captain's choice, because he experimented with many rosters with 3 catchers, etc., etc. And at the end, he told me, just decide what I'm gonna play. So I decided to go to the skill stack, the mighty blow tackle skill stack.
Yeah, humans are also not a team that we've seen too many of. I believe, like, on the interviews so far, I believe only Belgium had a human coach. But yeah, it's very mighty blow tackle, 4 guards, and block on a catcher. This is about what I would expect if I were to go, like, think of a human roster for this tournament. And there is the halfling hopeful as well for the throw teammate possibility. I feel that this is roster, like, to me, like, if you can get this against a team such as Necromantic, I think this can be really problematic for Necro, who's often considered very strong. Like, I think that's probably one of their best matchups. But do give your thoughts on, like, is this one of those where the coach is just like, he's just a very good at playing humans and he's played a lot of humans, or was this a sort of like a choice from, like, a meta perspective of, like, we think that humans are gonna fit in, or if humans are what we need?
Well, humans are in our rule set are stronger than both the World Cup and Malta. So that's one. Also, the extra money is a sweet spot to get 14 men with 2 catchers and the halfling, apothecary, and 3 rolls.
Yep.
So, and also this coach, has a tendency to play not to play tier 1 and tier 2 races. So even though I tried to persuade him to switch to orcs, because as you see, we don't have orcs.
Yeah.
Because we are missing our orc player. Alex is our orc player. So, but anyway, he feels comfortable with humans. He has played them a lot, so he's stuck with them, and we're stuck with him.
There is
No, we feel optimistic about this roster.
There is a combo, because humans are a hybrid team, which means that versus a dash team they can dash, and versus a dash team they can dash. Also, they can switch in the game according to what is needed. And I think it fits a lot the specific coach, because he has a lot of experience with many teams, like a jack of all trades. I know for sure that his favorite team is Chaos Chosen, which is actually a weird team to coach in tournaments, because it doesn't always work. So I think that humans can handle the majority of the opponents. It doesn't mean that they always win, but they are a very difficult team to find opposing you. So it can give points out of nowhere. It can bring results unexpectedly, and for sure create a lot of problems to the opponent.
Yeah. Yeah, the certain like with the human thrower like already coming with both sure hands and passing on a 2+, like, and the human catchers being movement 8, like a lot of people can underestimate like just how fast like a human team can actually score. And with the halfling addition to the team, like the fact that they do have now a viable one-turn option that isn't like reliant on like catcher sidestep, like pushing them, like it just makes them like very much a sort of like very versatile team. Um, and yeah, with like 4 guard, that's like they can hold their own against like a decent amount of bash teams. And the Mighty Blow tackle will certainly make any elf coach nervous. No doubt about that.
Yes, and this year's
Yeah,
Europe is a
that's
lot
really
in
awesome.
dash.
Mm.
We see Skaven, we see Lizardmen, we see some Underworld, we see Amazons. So this Mighty Blow tackle will need to be hot and working all the time.
Most human teams went this way, actually, the Mighty Blow tackle skill
Yeah.
stack way. I mean, in EUROBOWL. And now you mentioned the throwers. One of the rosters that he had tried was with both throwers. But okay, in the end, it was my decision for the roster and the skills choice.
All right. Then we have one of the people who've popped up in chat here, EUROBOWL, playing as the Corn, and this is another team that I believe only Belgium has had Corn out of the rosters that we've taken a look at here in the interviews. And this is slightly different. It's very uniform in the skills that they have chosen here. So just
Yes.
full-on block on the block seekers, full-on guard for the corn gores, and guard on the blood spawn. I believe the last time we saw the Belgian one, the blood spawn had a juggernaut, I think, and then like the corn gores had a fairly varied sort of smattering of skills as well.
Yeah, sure hands probably.
Yeah, strip ball I think
Yeah, I
was
don't remember.
in there as well.
Strip ball.
Yeah, and there was a wrestle corn gore as well. Like it was a mishmatch, and then they had one of the Bloodseekers had guard, and 3 of them had block, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I like Corn is a team that is like completely sort of unknown to me. In its current form, like I don't have that much like tabletop experience that a lot, so I'm gonna be reliant on your guys' expertise on like on how good is the Corn team. Like I've heard a lot of people say that it's a fun team, but
Well, Aravel is let's say our heavy artillery. He is second in our standings. He is the first in table tournament wins. He has the record for undefeated games, the 24. So he's, let's say, one of our top players. He's a specialist with Corn. Been playing them for exactly after Malta. In Malta, he played Dwarves, but after that, he went with Corn, and he's got about 75% win percentage.
that is very
In
impressive.
tournaments. Yeah. He has experienced a lot. He tried, let's say, first with the block with the Bloodspawn, then the Bloodspawn, then he went Juggernaut. But as time progressed, he wanted just to get as many guards as he could. So that's why you see this unique roster with 5 guards and 4. I think the block on the Bloodseekers is almost universal. And
yeah, I can
Corn is a specialist team to play. Like it's like Slan. There are some teams that maybe they can perform well. That's what we expect, but it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Also, it depends on whether your opponent has experience versus Corn. All this frenzy might bring you into a lot of trouble unexpectedly. So if someone doesn't have experience versus all this frenzy, might end up without a team. Crowd pushing, multiple blocks, searching also for the POW. It has good things and bad things, because on the other side, if you know how to handle frenzy, you can lead the opponent into frenzy traps. And that's when it gets messy. Now, as for the Bloodseekers and the Congors, personally for the Bloodseekers, I would say that there are two schools. These are strength 4 pieces, so many people. I'm one of them. I prefer to put my guard on strength 4. But on the other side, in this specific race, they are the heavy hitters. So a strength 4 can open up holes into the opponent's defense. Congors on the other side, they are the ball carriers. They do not have frenzy, so guard is a way to just position them well and use the rest to move along on the field. And I personally like a lot the team mascot. It's like I think it's a bit as an inducement first time. It's a 5+ reroll. If you're lucky enough, you have it. If you're not, well, you lose 30 grand.
Yeah. It's yeah, I can definitely understand like having all of that frenzy. Like the guard will help you mitigate make the best of it and potentially mitigate any trap situations as best you can. But it's certainly like Corrin is definitely one, like for me, like as a Blood Bowl player, I prefer more control than, and so Corrin probably would not be the team for me, certainly, like with but yeah, if he's a specialist with like a very, very high win rate, going undefeated, like I can certainly understand, even if it's not a meta sort of race, then like having that sort of a specialist, like, and as you said, like because Corrin is probably not one of those teams that's gonna show up like at the high tables in tournaments. Like people can like it could be their first or second time like facing them, and they might not be used to it, and you can catch people off guard. So yeah, certainly can see the utility of it. It is one of those that can turn out to be a double-edged sword, but like if you have a very good coach, as he seems to be, I can understand the confidence. Then we have Mind Locker, Necromantic Horror.
Yeah, sure.
We have the man in question in the chat. They sometimes explode completely, but they can also create space out of nowhere. I've surfed people from the middle of the field. Yeah, that's one of those things that people might just not think about when they put like okay, I'm putting these guys on like the line of scrimmage, and then they see like two of them get surfed and go like, hold on, how did this happen? But yeah, Mind Locker, Necromantic Horror. This looks fairly similar to a lot of Necro teams that we have seen so far, with the exception that there is a block and a guard Flesh Golem. Most seem to be going for just full guard on the Flesh Golems.
Okay, so Mind Locker is also his first appearance in the first team. He was in Malta with the European team. I think this is a pretty standard roster. All of the race let's say, half guard. I just checked; it was 33 out of 34 race half guard and one mighty blow. I think he went double block with the wolves. Also, it's the popular choice. He went with the extra money, so he has the 3 rolls and 12 men.
Yep.
And the majority of Necro went this way. Now, but the double guard golems, I also ran a check, and it doesn't seem to be the trend, actually. because 18 golems have a block and 16 golems have a guard. So
Interesting.
actually, the majority went for block. And his let's say his dilemma about the roster was whether he would take 2 blocks on the golems or 1 block, 1 guard.
Mm-mm.
I think it's better to go this way, but as the Welsh uh, coach, captain, and vice captain discussed yesterday,
Mm.
sometimes you get the wrong golem at the wrong position.
Yeah.
You want to block golem elsewhere in the place of the guard golem,
Yeah.
etc. And vice versa, let's say.
Yeah. The there out of the rosters that we've taken a look at, I believe there was one. I cannot remember which team it was. That was running a double block flesh golem. But I believe most of the necros that we've so far seen, at least from the rosters that we've taken a look at here in the interviews, have been running the double guard on the flesh golem. So it is. I think again, it comes down a lot to coach preference. And I think for me, I would put double guard on the flesh golems just because like guard is even when it doesn't like now that it doesn't help like doesn't give an assist on fouling anymore, it's still, I would argue, one of the best skills in the game, and like having more of it like is almost never a bad
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I saw also Purple Goose team roster, let's say, from the English team, and he went double guard.
Mm.
If I played Necro, I think I would first try with the double guard on the golems. But I can see the reasoning behind block.
Certainly can see it. We have Pitpat.
Again, this was a player's choice
Yeah.
at the end.
Yep. And as I said, like definitely, I think that the coach seems comfortable with their own roster is one of the big things of like doing well, I think. But we have Pitpat here in the chat. You get a starting block with a flesh golem if you put block on them, and then rest of the turn follows after that. And yeah, that is a very solid reasoning for why block on flesh golem is good. And I mean, because of like its strength, it's a strength 4 piece that also comes with stand firm. Just having that block there like increases the chances that if somebody hits them, they stay up and standing, and then they can be a real nuisance. Like I'm an Imperial nobility coach mainly, and like I have started valuing like stand firm as a skill very, very much. The experience that I've had, and yeah, with flesh golems, yeah, like block is not a bad choice on them at all. But yeah,
Sure, block and guard are like the kings of the skills.
yeah.
And 3 guard are the minimum, let's say, needed versus a bash team. On the other side, block makes you sometimes take this choice for the 1 dice. It's a 1 out of 6 to fail rather than 2 out of 6.
Yeah. Again, like I don't think we've seen a Necro roster that doesn't look solid. Just like Necro is in a very good spot at the moment, like as a team right now. And I don't think you can like if you stick with the Trident, like unless you go for some really odd skill choices, like I think they're going to be a good contender overall, like in any matchup, really. Like just because like the werewolves have the speed and the wraiths are like you can get the guard where you need to be, hopefully with the wraiths, and the ghoul runners are there to back up the werewolves. So the next one is interesting. We have Shoal, who has been active in the chat today as well. Playing Underworld, and Underworld like was a very strong team, but then a lot of people have dropped them after the swarming has been removed. So haven't been seeing too many Underworld rosters so far in the rosters we checked on this. I believe Spain had an Underworld roster. So please do give us your thoughts on is this one of those where the coach is just very good at playing Underworld, or
Four underworlds. Poland also has them. And Spain, yes, you're
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Also vanilla rosters.
yeah,
So it's good that two of the, let's say, the good teams also stuck
mm,
with them. They didn't change them. I
yeah.
think most of the teams have switched to another race.
Vampire seems to be
And
the most common for like change.
yeah, well, there was, let's say, we had some, I'd say, drama too about Sole. He's returning from he's a Malta veteran. He
Mm,
also played in Malta.
mm,
And he was originally destined to be the captain of the European team, but we had the Swedes,
mm,
some circumstances, and he had decided to play Underworld. Then, right after the Swedes, we learned about the nerf,
mm,
and we had the thought to maybe switch him to orcs, but he did a lot of play testing with nerfed Underworld, and he decided that he's still comfortable with them.
mm,
So uh, we decided, let's say, to remain. We had some thoughts maybe to give him the star player squad points.
mm, mm.
Also, that was also a team dilemma, but at the end, I decided to give the stack to the humans, so there weren't enough points, and he's going vanilla.
Mm-mm.
I think it's a solid roster with a fouling, let's say, as most underworld teams,
Yeah,
fouling direction, and we are also confident that he will do well.
yeah. It's a
Un-
very uh,
Underworld is like a win big, lose big
yeah.
race. Hopefully, win big for for Team Greece.
Mm-mm.
But actually, this roster shouts out loud what it does.
Yeah.
These two bribes are there for a reason.
Yep. Also, block on the Rat Ogre. Most I think like for Skaven teams at least, a Juggernaut has been far more common. But like on an Underworld team, like this Underworld team wants to do damage to the enemy, and I think in that case, like the block makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think the underworld have to play the ogre as their main killer, their
Yeah.
main bleacher,
Yeah.
because they need tackle to the Skaven bleacher.
Yeah.
So I think it's normal. You see a lot of juggernaut in the Skaven teams
Mm.
because it helps more to the one turn,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think they can afford to have alternative hitters, but. Other than the bleacher, there is no reliable, second hitter for the underworld team.
Yeah. Um, I am like the dirty player on the clan rat makes sense. I was wondering whether was there any discussion about instead of having a dirty player on a clan rat, maybe have a like sneaky git on either a snotling or a goblin. Was there ever that discussion, or was it always going to be dirty player?
Mm, I think you can have a sneaky git with bribe, Alex, in
Yeah.
the rule set.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay,
So yeah,
fair enough.
exactly.
Yeah, that then
Mm,
it makes a lot of sense. Yep. All right.
yes, yes. So I think it's universal to get the dirty player on the clan
Yeah,
run,
or in yeah.
at least in our rule set. Okay.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, this is it's definitely one of like this is probably like one of like is a good reason of like coming back a little bit Dark Elves is because Underworld was so strong and so double assassin was and but yeah the Underworld I'm very curious to see like how the Underworld actually perform because like even in like online environment a lot of people have just given up on the Underworld team as a sort of like they're not good not a good team anymore because the swarming was so I'm very curious to see like because like EuroBowl is definitely like from a skill level standpoint is generally like very like it's a very high skill level overall So very curious to see how Underworld performs like across the tournament.
Well,
Yeah, me too. But it's going to be a small sample, only 4 teams. But well, we'll see also in Europe, and I think they are more popular in Europe.
The main issue with Underworld is whether the opponent will have armor breaks. There are many squishy players like the Snotlings, like the Goblins, even the rest of the team, except of the Blitzer, are like armor 7, 8 plus to break armor. So if, let's say, you go hunting and you bring this armor breaks, everything is fine. If you do not, then that's the time where coaches try to say, "Oh, they are so strong, they don't break, my dice are bad." You have this kind of talks. But really, I've seen plenty of games of Underworld with Underworld coaches ending up with like 3 players on the field. Not that it's a bad team. Okay, Underworld is a very good team, especially in the hands of coaches that know how to manage it. But again, it's not for everyone. You don't have strength, you have to play with other means.
Very, very true. I would consider it like Underworld to be one of those teams that kind of specialize, similar to like Korn, in that like the coach has to be like a specialist coach, like to really know the team inside and out to get the most out of them. It's definitely not like a like one that I would go like to the average like Blood Bowl coach. I wouldn't go up to them and like, you're probably gonna do pretty good on like Underworld. Like it's not one of those teams. But still keeping to the scuttling, scurrying type of gameplay, we have Radipus. Skaven. And
also a unique roster, as you see.
The this is a little different from most other Skaven rosters that we've seen before.
Yes, exactly. He went for the skill stack, as he did in Malta actually. He was one of our high scorers in Malta, top scorers. He got 5 wins and a draw. Sorry, and a loss. So actually, he's the only one that had 5 wins. And let's say he lives and dies by the skill stack. He always wants to have the perfect ball sacker, rest strip bowler. And I think the only difference from the Malta roster is that she had a leader in the thrower then, but now thanks to the extra cast, she got the thread reroll, so she replaced the leader with a mighty blow on the blitzer. So this is an example I told you now. This way, the Skaven have 2, let's say, killers, heavy hitters in their team.
Yeah. It is interesting to see I believe out of the rosters that we've taken a look at, like this is the only one that has gone on the stack skills for the Skaven roster, and yeah, that is a gutter runner that can cause a lot of trouble. I would imagine, like, especially to like because like there are many teams that don't come with do not have sure hands like as a ball, like on their ball carrier, like especially teams like Undead and Necro. Like the wrestle strip ball can be devastating in the right circumstances. Like Skaven, to me, like they're the perfect team, like one of the best teams at like once the ball is popped loose, like they're the best team at like taking it and running away with it, like making that sort of a flip.
Skaven are strong. By the way, this is his signature player. I mean, I remember all my years, Bradipus having a gutter runner with a wrestle strip ball. But yeah, in general, Skaven are strong. Again, they are a specialist race. It's not for everyone. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, the best player in NAF is a Skaven coach. It's Olivier Dulac from
from France.
France.
Yeah.
Different mentality in their rosters, but still Skaven are there. And really, when you are opposing Skaven, rule number one is protect the ball by all means. Because if this ball is free, then everything is free.
Yeah, Skaven are very much like a team that can very quickly like get ahead in score, and you just won't be able to catch them if you let them take that lead. And yeah, Skaven are like from what like there have been like from what I've been talking to like in these interviews, it seems that there seems to be like 3 teams that most people like would consider to be like an auto include team, team to be played. Skaven is one, Necro is another, and Dark Elf is the third. So yeah, Skaven are in a very good spot at the moment, like with this rule set that you have.
Yeah, actually, the most popular is Dark Elf Skaven on Amazon. I mean, by numbers, judging by numbers, okay.
They are a popular race in general.
They,
throughout the years, Skaven have a lot of people supporting them.
yeah. Yeah, and like Skaven have always like I've always considered Skaven to be, if not like near like I would consider them to be like among the best races like overall, like just because like they have the speed, like they have the speed with the gutter runners, and they have the reliability by having the gutter like the thrower as well, and like, the 2 blitzers and the rat ogre, like especially with the new like the Blood Bowl 2020 changes, like which makes the rat ogre more consistent with like it with his what's it called, the skill that he comes in. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so yeah, Skaven have been consistently very good throughout the years, and it's like, but I wouldn't consider them to be like an overpowered team. It is just that like if you have a high skilled Skaven coach, like in a sort of like this sort of a team tournament environment, like as the team captain, I feel that like Skaven, like if you have a solid Skaven coach, like you can always rely on them to like at least not lose. Like they're like I would consider them to be one of those reliable weapons in your arsenal as a team captain that you can rely on.
Yes, and they have the easiest one turn, so it's also very important for result-wise.
Yeah.
Even an awful turn, sorry, an awful drive on defense can still end up 1-1 at the end of the half, fairly easily.
Yeah.
They have a lot of weapons, but don't forget that still they are a squishy team, right? Everything there can break easily.
Explode.
Which, I mean, I feel that in a tournament environment, like, because, at least from my personal experience, like, again, you guys talked that, like, the meta in Greece, it seems to be more bashy than perhaps elsewhere. And, like, that has been my experience as well, is that, like, in a tournament setting, bash teams, like, orcs and like, lizardmen, definitely, like, what I would consider, like, bash teams. Like they do often like do well, but like overall I feel that bash is not that present in most sort of like tournament settings. So like that allows Skaven to thrive because they don't need to worry about as much bash. They don't like, because yeah, sure, humans can outpunch the Skaven certainly, but it's not like it's not like a done deal even with the mighty blow tackle. It's not like the humans in if the Skaven coach is good, like the mighty blow tackle guy will never touch any of the gutter runners, and then
exactly.
Yeah. So and then last but not least, we have Extapodius.
We call it Tapodias, so it's like an H there, but it's an X. Anyway.
Tapodius, yeah.
He's also a Malta veteran. He was in the team EUROBOWL Malta, also playing Undead, so he's returning with Undead. We went with the extra skill there,
Yep.
as we did with Amazons actually, and it's I'd say it's pretty standard. If you go the extra skill, both goals get wrestled in most of the teams anyway. And let's say the dilemma we had was about with Blitzer if he was going to have a mighty blow or a tackle.
Yeah.
Again, this was a player's choice. The captain's choice was a tackle, but in the end, it was the player's choice to go mighty blow.
Okay, we can, some people can substitute tackle with 2 wrestle, to be honest, because you need tackle to be able to suck the ball from a blodger. Wrestle sometimes works also pretty fine. Personally, I prefer tackle. And after all these roster submissions, while checking everything out, I was like, why people don't take more tackle? Because usually in EuroBowl we see a lot of Dutch teams, so there will be opportunities for this tackle to work and give your money back. But in the end, as usually Team Greece does, it's up to the player. If the player feels more comfortable with something else, then it's up to him.
Yeah.
And the thing with tackle, it's okay. You have the wrestlers as ball suckers, but tackle gives you, let's say, a blitz every turn against the blodgers. So it's more about attrition and not about ball sacking.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not the same, wrestle and tackle. But probably against the ball carrier, okay, they are both useful, but tackle gets added value because it can hurt people all throughout the game.
And and considering that there are a lot of there are going to be a lot of teams that have that are more squishy on the armor side, in this tournament. There are going to be plenty of teams that have AV 8+ players, and not all of them are going to be having dodge, but with the white blitzer already having the block, the mighty blow can really do a lot of work, and especially with the mummies already taking care of the fighting on the line with the inbuilt mighty blow. Undead can be deceptively can start removing enemy pieces in a quick fashion, if they are given the chance to do it. So I don't think a mighty blow is at all a bad choice on the white blitzer. I personally would also have gone for the tackle, just because there have been too many times where I have gone for a block on somebody who has dodge, and even if I reroll it, even if I have 3 dice on it, it's just defender stumbles, and then they just laugh at me and run away the next turn, and it's just...
Yeah, so a mighty blow, of course, is a strong skill, and of course there is a utility to it. It can work this way, as you described, start removing other soft targets, and maybe because of the meta, I would lean more on tackle in this case. I also ran a check, and there are 12 tackle wits and 5 mighty blow wits in EuroBowl. So most people went with tackle.
Yeah. All right. One of the things that I did want to ask about, vampire teams are one of those teams that a lot of people consider the vampires to be very good, but there's been also a lot of talk about you kind of need to have a coach who knows how to play the vampires to make the most of it. Was vampires ever a consideration as a team that somebody could have brought for Greece, or?
Actually, it was a consideration before the switch, but at this point, for us, it was too high a risk to go with vampires with such a new race and such an improved race, because nobody played the old vampires.
Yeah.
The new are fairly strong, and they're good for this rule set, and And anyway, we had some thoughts, but in the end, we also went the old reliable way.
Mm.
But it's a race that we will certainly look into in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are an isolated community, we have some, let's say, strong races that yet we haven't find any good players, such as Lizardman and Wood
Yeah.
Elves. We don't
Yeah.
have strong Lizardman and Wood Elves players
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. All right. So, we have covered the Greek roster, and like all of the teams are looking solid, and like all of the choices that have been made have reasons behind them. So let's take a look at your upcoming opponents. I think we're gonna leave the aspirations, like what you aim to get. We're gonna leave that to the end. Bulgaria, was it, for the Greece first draw?
Yes.
All right.
Hmm.
Let's take a look. So we're seeing some similar some of the same teams, and some different teams, and some teams that we have not yet seen before. So
Exactly.
starting from the very top, we have Bacho Kolio. I apologize to any Bulgarian players whose name I butcher. We have humans, and they have a slightly different way of making their roster here. Um, still have the 4 guard, ogre, and 3 blitzers. They have not gone for stacking skills on the last blitzer, just the tackle, so no mighty blow there. Double block on the catchers, and then halfling hopeful with a sneaky git, as well as Bloodweiser kegs. This is
Yes.
hmm.
In general, Bulgaria, it's their first appearance.
Mm,
I think they have solid rosters.
mm,
Um, they are a unique, let's say, team because it's a team that has the fewest choices from the top races. As
mm,
you
mm.
may have noticed, there are, let's say, 9 very popular races
Yeah.
in EUROBOWL, and they only have 4. So they took, let's say, they are the team which got the list of the top 9. They only have 4:
Yeah.
Dark Elves, Orcs, Skaven, and Amazons.
Mm, mm.
Uh, we have a human mirror actually against them.
Ooh, okay.
So
That's
yeah, I think this is a fairly standard roster with 4 guards
yeah.
and a tackler blitzer with both blodgers and the catchers. The extra thing is the sneaky git on the hopeful,
Yeah.
which is good, I think.
Mm.
And also, they went for instead of squad of 14, they went for the
Bloodwise.
Bloodweiser
Yeah.
keg. Yeah.
Uh
So
yeah.
it's a bit different, but I think it's a strong roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost has the same mentality in the end.
It does. It's just decided to do things a little differently. So I think like the general game plan for both human rosters is gonna be fairly similar. So I think this matchup will probably come down. I feel it's gonna come down to exactly what like Skaven and Amazon and Underworld and Elf matchups for your human team would come down to. How well will the Mighty Blow Tackle Blitzer perform in this matchup? Because if he can actually get like rid of the bludgeon catchers, that's gonna be a big blow to this team, and so I think it's gonna come down to that, as well as obviously coach skill is going to be a because humans are I wouldn't say that they're one like they do take a fair bit of skill to play, even though they look like they're often touted as this is a good race to start with. Like it can do everything. It still does obviously require skill to be played well. But yeah, Human Mirror is is going to, I think, come down to a lot on how that Mighty Blow tackle piece.
On one side, because on the other side, there's this sticky git over there, so it has
Yeah.
to do also with how good the fouling
Mm.
will be from the Bulgarian side.
Yeah.
At the end, there can be only one human.
Mm.
It's up to the coaches to show who was the best and or the luckiest.
Yeah. You can never discount the dice in a game of Blood Bowl. That is true.
Yeah, obviously.
All right. Moving on. We have Emilius, Dark Elves, and this is what I would consider to be like a very standard Dark Elf roster. Very strong, but very standard. 1 block, 1 wrestle on the Witch Elves. Leader runner. Also, no assassin to be found here. So.
Yeah, actually, it's the same roster as mine, but he doesn't go with double wrestle. He goes block wrestle, which is also very strong. Dark Elves. In fact, we are having a double Dark Elf Amazon matchups against Bulgaria.
Yeah.
So he plays our Amazon player, and I play their Amazon player. And I think also he is the captain. I'm not sure about that.
And I must say that probably like both Dark Elf coaches, I feel are probably looking at their first round opponents and going like, "Damn, I wish I had an assassin right about now."
Exactly.
But yeah, very solid. In a Dark Elf versus Amazon sort of matchup, I can't see that either team like has a very like a big advantage over the other, because like they're fairly well matched in speed. Like the Dark Elves have more armor, but the Amazons have obviously the dodge. So and like neither team is and they both teams have like a bunch of like bludgers. So yeah, I don't like, so long as I think like the Amazon team doesn't make mistakes near the sideline. So that like if the Dark Elf Witch Elves get to start surfing Amazon players, like if that doesn't happen, it's gonna be a very even matchup.
Yeah, it can certainly go both ways. This matchup, this versus Galen, and we have seen it also in tournaments.
Yeah.
Personally, I find that between Dark Elves and Amazons, Dark Elves have a slight advantage. But it needs to be seen, because the coach plays the biggest role in this kind of game, in Blood Bowl generally.
Yeah.
But if we take the coach aside and the experience of the coach aside, I truly believe that Dark Elves are a little bit better than Amazons.
Okay. Fair enough. But yeah.
Sorry, I just checked. It's Emilius is not their captain. It's the first one, the human player, but Polio.
Yep. Fair enough. Moving on, we have Karnog, Orcs, and this is I mean, he has four rerolls, and he's not bringing a thrower. Those are the two big things on this Orc roster that like stick out to me as different. Otherwise, it's like 2 block, 2 guard on the big uns, tackle blitzer, guard blitzer, mighty blow blitzer. All seems fairly standard, but
yeah, I agree. It's most players go 2 blocks, 2 guards on the big guns.
Yeah.
And I think the trio guard, tackle, and mighty blow is the best choice for the blitzers.
Yeah.
He's not taking the troll or the thrower, so he has enough money for apothecary and 4 rerolls, but only 12 men.
Yeah.
And the matchup is against our undead, so also this is gonna be very interesting.
Yeah. Very, very interesting. Unfortunately, I don't think for your undead player, the mighty blow is on the white will not find very easy targets here. Like if he can reach the goblin, he can probably put the Goblin out of commission, but other than that, that's a whole lineup of 10 plus armor that he'd need to go through.
Yeah, true. But if he had gotten a tackle, it would be, let's say, a useless skill.
Yeah.
Almost useless
Yeah.
because only the Goblin.
Yeah.
So in this case, Mighty Blow is better than tackle.
True enough.
Because orcs are like my favorite race. The problem with orcs...
I have to say about Alex, he was also one of our top scorers in Malta. He had 4 wins and 2 draws. Actually, he came 6th overall in the individual with orcs. So as you can understand, we are missing him in this tournament.
Yeah,
and we couldn't replace him. No orcs in the Greek team this year.
So there are like 8 positionals, super important, and these are the blockers and the blitzers. Once Nuffle decides that the orc player has to lose one of these players, it's a huge pain for the orc coach. That's where the Mighty Blow works. Of course, it works, on the opposite side. Like if the orc with its great armor value and I would say medium movement makes up a couple of removals, then the coach's job on that game becomes way easier. But still, big guns are the stars, because a cage of big guns is one of the worst nightmares that you can have in Blood Bowl.
I still definitely do not understand why the big and blockers in the orc team, like why they have movement 5 and then the black orcs on the black orc team only have movement 4. I don't get why they did that. I have been like I will admit that I have an anti-orc bias. Like I think I am personally have been bashed in with by orcs too many times, and I think they might need a little bit of a nerf. But yeah, the orcs are a very solid team, and it is obviously like a team that one would heartily take into. And hopefully it doesn't become the downfall of the Greek team that you couldn't have your orcs. Like always sad when you can't get the things that you want. But yeah, I think it's gonna be another very even matchup. I think orcs versus undead. It like if the orcs get like if one of the mummies goes out, that's gonna be the fear I think of the undead coach, is that if one of the mummies gets removed, like even temporarily, like early, that's gonna change the pace of the game a lot.
Every casualty matters in this game.
Yeah.
And what is missing? Okay, for this specific match, because in other matches maybe it will not. For the orc coach, I think is the troll. Because even if it has very stupid, even if you take it without skills, it still is a strength 5 piece.
Yeah.
That can keep. Now versus something undead and 2 strength 5 pieces, the orc coach needs to position his guard in a way that will help his team move on. On the other hand, the 2 strength 5 pieces are the advantage of the something undead coach.
In general, our community is more, let's say, leaning on the troll orcs with troll. But I see universally, maybe most players go without the troll.
Yeah,
Alex certainly loves the troll.
I love my troll.
From like the people that I've talked to in like the Swedish team, especially, like most, like there is in for the pain, like he is very much general, like he likes the troll in the sense that like he thinks it's a very fun player to have on the team, but I think he has a very negative view of it from a is it ever going to help me win the game? Probably not. So that's where I get like my impressions of like how much a troll is liked or disliked in a sort of very competitive coach. But yeah, Muttley 200 is running a Norse team. Not like there's been a couple of Norse teams, but not the most common choice, which is a little bit of a surprise to me because of like just how like with all of the block that Norse comes in, like I feel that like in a tournament setting they can be very, very solid. And he's running a Yeti with Juggernaut. Both of his Ulf Warriors have block. He has a Berserker with tackle. Both of the Valkyries have block. 2 beer boars, 4 linemen, apothecary, 3 rolls. Again, I haven't seen like don't have a good sort of grasp on the sort of how Norse plays in 2020. But I like the Yeti seems to be a contentious piece. Like some Norse players don't like the Yeti at all. But a lot of them seem to be bring it along.
Yeah, well, I think most of them get the Yeti.
Mm.
Let me check about that.
No.
Anyway,
Also,
this is also a very strange matchup. It's Norse against our Skaven.
Mm.
Yes. So we don't like the tackle on the Berserker, as
Yep.
you can understand. On the other hand, he doesn't have any guard,
Mm.
so we'll see how it goes. This is a roster that has extra cash, as you
Mm.
can see.
Mm.
So he has 3 roles. He has an apothecary, and I think the standard 13 men.
Mm.
yes,
Yeah,
it's
13 with the 2 beer boards.
Yeah, yeah.
So he has fowlers. He has a tackler. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Mm. Yeah, I think.
movement will play a huge role in this game because the linemen come with drunkard, which makes the go for it a 3+.
Mm.
Skaven are pretty much fast. So if the Norse player needs to chase the Skaven, there might be some issues with the dice rolling.
Mm.
But on the other side, it's a roster full of block.
Mm.
It has a lot of frenzy
Mm.
inside there, which can make some holes in the Skaven defense. It will be a tough match that will end up on the best coach, I think.
Mm.
So I also did a check. So out of the 6 teams, the 4 get the Yeti. So I think
Yeah, 66%.
it's not clear cut whether
Yeah.
you should get him or not.
No.
But with the extra cash, I think definitely you have to
Mm.
go for it.
I do like the Skaven and Norse are like they're both kind of fragile as teams go. And like that's gonna play a lot. Like the Rat Ogre and the Yeti, like they're I think gonna be making like big impacts on how they play, how the two teams like how the clash goes, because both teams can start getting like players can start dropping very, very fast because of how like the low armor values. So it's gonna be a very. I
Yeah.
feel that that's gonna be a very explosive match. Both in like if the Skaven start running away with the ball, then like on the scoreboard, but also on the field that they're both teams can just explode because of how low the armor value.
Yeah, well, in theory, when there's a lot of missing players from both sides, the quicker side, let's say,
Yeah.
has the advantage.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah. I mean, it is very much like even if the Skaven team loses half their players, so long as the 4 gutter runners are on the field, like they're never gonna be out of the game at that point. It is gutter runners are so. We have Pig in Space playing as dwarves. Also not a very usual team to bring so far from the rosters that we've seen, though they are considered one like among the as you said, like more popular races overall. But so far from like those that I've interviewed, like not many dwarf. We have 2 guards on the blitzers. We have 1 block on the runner, and then just 3 guards on the lineman, an apothecary, assistant coach, rolls. Yeah, I mean it's a dwarf roster. Like this is a solid, good dwarf roster.
It's a typical dwarf roster.
Mm.
And although it is dwarfs versus corn, which will be a bash game, I believe that in the next 5 games of Bulgaria, dwarfs will have a lot of opportunities to smash positionals with a lower armor value, with dodge. Not many people have chosen to play dwarfs, but as I've seen the races, I believe that there is some space for dwarfs there.
Yeah, they haven't been a popular choice. I think as expected in our rule set. Not because they're not good, but because many races have become better than them.
Yeah.
It's pretty standard. Probably a Mighty Blow is missing on a Troll Slayer, but I think this is not obligatory.
No.
I like the 5 guards and also the block on the runner.
Yeah.
And we'll see about the matchup. We feel optimistic about this matchup. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, I do think that with the amount of guard that the Corrin roster has, and then like the frenzy, like dwarves rely a lot on having their players in the correct position to like give out a strong front line, and just that much frenzy will often mean that like the dwarves are going to be out of position and they're going to be weaker than if they were in the correct position. Like I feel that like a Corn team can do very well against dwarves, even if they don't they don't remove the dwarves, like just because of the frenzy, like they're gonna have control, like they're gonna break up the dwarven formation.
We hope so.
Yeah, but it's 5 guard versus 5 guard. Dwarves have more block than Corn. So it will really depend on how Frenzy will go, because if Frenzy drives the player on a bad square, there might be some issues. On the other hand, if Frenzy works, it's where the Corn team takes its advantage. So I believe that this will be one more game where nothing will decide what will happen.
Yeah, it will depend a lot on the numbers game and also on the sideline game. So we'll see how it plays out.
I'll call out here. 83 Votan, thank you for the follow. Glad to have you here. Next up we have Rora Rimbo, playing as Skaven, and it's a different looking team. Like this is, I feel, like this is a very standard Skaven roster for the tournament, I think.
Yeah, with extra skill also, 8 skills.
Yeah. And
yeah, I agree. It's standard. The Rat Ogre, the Blizzard Duo, skill all the gutter runners. I think with it has everything. It has block. It has let's say two. As most teams, you know, they instead of us that we have one, let's say, a major or super ball sucker. Most teams give a wrestling side and and strip ball to separate gutter runners, a side stepper for the one turn, and a leader thrower. So I think this is a pretty standard extra skills given roster.
And it is Skaven versus Underworld Denizens.
Another very explosive matchup, that one.
Exactly.
Like I mean, I feel that like from how you guys like the underworld team in your and the Greek team has been built, like Skaven are probably one of those teams that are a decent matchup for like the game plan that they have, which is deal damage. That like the I think Skaven is one of those teams that the underworld can really hurt. If they
We
get,
hope so.
you know.
In fouls we trust. In fouling,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
No, but I agree with you. It seems like one of the matchups that the underworld likes,
mm,
Gavin,
yeah,
in theory.
yeah,
And there is a one-turn nerf piece, a dedicated one-turn nerf piece. It's got the runner with a sidestep.
yeah.
Plus the Ratogor with the Juggernaut. It's there for a reason.
No. It is very much, I think, going to be a question of like because like again, Underworld are also fragile when it comes to as a team. It is going to come down to the damage, and I think like the Underworld team is more geared toward doing damage versus this Skaven lineup is more of a we're gonna score like the more standard Skaven roster. So yeah, I think it is like especially if the underworld like because of the the stunty like the dodging that they can do with both like the snotlings and the goblins, like they can actually like get past like the Skaven defenses a little bit to get those hits on the gutter runners. So and if they can get any of them out, like especially if the sidestepper goes out, that can shift the game quite a bit. But next up, Simu, Tomb Kings. This is the first Tomb Kings roster that we have seen so far in the interview. Which is, I mean, it is a like what I would expect from a Tomb Kings roster. I think like this, like 4 guard on the Tomb Guardians, tackle mighty blow on the Blitzers. I would probably take a dirty player on a skeleton lineman rather than like both throwers having block, but that's just me. But yeah, I would consider this to be a very very standard what to expect from a Tomb King lineup.
It is a King 101 roster.
Mm.
Of course, there are rosters with a dirty player because Tomb Kings have the option to have a big bench.
Mm-mm.
But on the other side, linemen are there to just to fill up the roster. Someone can say that if you lose your thrower, things get difficult because it's a 4+ pickup. Okay, there is a reroll, but dice are dice. So these two throwers usually go for the ball. One picks up, one protects. As for the other positionals, the Bleacher and the Tomb Guardians, it's as expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's. Can you hear me? Sorry,
Yep.
I lost connection before. All right. It's a pretty standard Tomb King roster with 4 guards. The Bleachers, one gets tackled with the other mighty blow. Maybe instead of 2 blocks, you could have a leader thrower. Tomb Kings were also good for the extra skill. But anyway, there were only 2. There are only 2 Tomb King rosters in EUROBOWL, so we didn't see any. And not dirty player lineman. I think maybe with the extra skill. No, actually, with the extra skill, you can go this way.
Yeah.
But I also agree it's better to skill all positionals than go with a dirty player. But this cast, 117 is a sweet spot for them because they get all positionals, 3 rolls, and I think it's a squad of 14. Yeah, for a squad of 14. Yep. So they can foul anyway without the dirty player.
Yeah.
By the way, after the change that happened with fouling regarding guard,
Mm.
I might be able to understand the reason why there is no dirty player, because guard is on the Tomb Guardians. Tomb Guardians usually want to stick on the opponents.
Mm.
So with the new rules, guard will not help at all
Yeah.
the dirty player. And maybe that's one of the reasons why he wasn't picked.
Yeah. Could be. Who is the Toon Kings matchup then? So your Amazon
I'd say Tomb Kings versus Necro, also a very interesting matchup, and one you don't see very often.
No. I think
We sure hope that the claw works.
yeah, hope that the claw works. Because like the Necros, I think greatest advantage in that matchup is their speed on the werewolves and the ghouls. Like that is what they need to take advantage of. Because like they cannot stand up to the Camry roster in a straight up brawl. So it is.
Yes.
So, but it is one of those. I think it is one of those matchups where, like, especially for the Camry, like, a bad, like, a pickup that they don't make, or like if their ball carrier like gets brought down and the ball bounces, that can be the end of a half for like their chances and potentially even the game. And with the speed of the Necro, like it is just how would you say it? It is one of those things that the Camry coach has to be always aware of. Like there are some teams that you can take it, like you don't need to be as on guard against it, but Necro is not one of them.
Yeah, with Camry is always an adventure to pick up the ball. You know. Sometimes you get stuck in the backfield also. So against fast teams, things may get, let's say, very bad from right from the bat. But we'll see, okay, because the pickup, if it happens on turn one, it changes all the game. If it happens on turn two, okay, maybe you can, but if you don't pick up in the first two turns, that's a huge problem.
Yeah.
Camry are very strong on bashing game. And that's where the movement of the Necro team will come handy. One more thing that might affect the game, although Greece has a very nice weather, in that pitch it might rain.
Yeah. Yep. That could be very terrible for the Camry team. Yep.
I think this is the nightmare of Tomb King coach. Rain is tough in the Sahara Desert.
All right. Last but not least, we have Sir Twist 089 with the Amazon roster, and they're coming in with double thrower, which is not, I think.
Yeah, it's the only team that comes with a double thrower.
Yeah. They have elected.
Well, actually, I can see the reasoning on that because you have the leader and you have also a blodger ball carrier. So. And they also get the extra skill.
Yeah. They have elected to go block on both of their blitzers as well. Like neither of their blockers is running block either. So, again, Amazon teams have like generally speaking have like slight variances between them, but yeah, this is the only one with the through throwers. And they're taking on the Dark Elves.
Yes, this is my matchup actually.
Yeah.
I personally prefer the double block blitzers. I'm not sold on the wrestle. He has a couple of wrestlers for the ball for the ball sack. I can understand the reasoning for two throwers and fill them both actually. So the only thing that he sacrifices because of that is the apothecary. He
Yeah.
still goes 14 men, but no apothecary, or he could go 13 and apothecary.
Yeah.
I think I would prefer to go 13 and apothecary
Yeah.
in his case
I
because of so many
yeah.
positionals.
Yeah, I would say that I'm the same way, because like if a blocker or a blitzer gets removed, even KO'd, like in a critical situation, like that is a lot of Amazon power suddenly gone. So I think the apothecary would be my choice as well, but I can certainly see the argument for the 14th, and I'm expecting with a as he went for the 14, I'm expecting there to be fouling from his side as well. So how would you say, like, how do you feel about this matchup over, like, it's again, as said, like, I think Dark Elves and Amazons are fairly evenly matched.
Personally, I don't like this matchup. I have also played the Amazons a lot, so I know their strength.
Mm.
Uh, we'll see, we'll see. I have also lost my only loss with Dark Elves, on tabletop is against Amazons.
Mm.
So yeah,
All right.
not very comfortable with it.
Mm. Fair enough. All right. With that, we'll move on to, so with all of that being said, what would you say is the sort of aim of the Greek team in this tournament? Is there a specific sort of placement that you're looking for, or is it like, I mean, again, as I said, I think, like, I expect that every team is going there to be competitive and go for the win, like go for as good of a showing as they can. But is there like a specific rank, like if you reach this, you can celebrate it, something like
Well, as the captain, I am a bit, let's say, conservative
that? Mm.
on team goals. In Malta, my goal as a team, was not to finish last because in Wales we were last. So we
Mm.
went, actually, we went from last to fourth.
Mm.
That was beyond our dreams. Um, but at this point, I would be satisfied if we finish in the top half
Mm.
of the table. I know this may sound conservative, but let's see the example of Wales. They went, I think they were fourth Wales, and they had a very bad tournament in Malta.
Yeah.
So what you do, let's say, in the previous EuroBowl doesn't really matter.
Mm.
But if we finish top half of the table with so many good teams, I would be satisfied, and it would show that we are, let's say, a competitive team, and we are, let's say, in the Blood Bowl map.
Mm.
Most of our players are more optimistic,
Mm.
I must say. I hope they are right and I am wrong, as it was in Malta.
Mm. Mm.
I am more optimistic. I have seen this community getting better in terms of quality. More people have joined tournaments. More people feel more comfortable while playing with people from abroad.
Mm.
There are a lot of tournaments that they join, especially in Fumble.
Mm.
Of course, I will agree with the captain of the Greek team that the target is to be on the upper half of the score table.
Mm.
But I have a feeling that the Greek team players deserve a position in the top 8.
Mm.
This doesn't mean that there aren't better teams, just to be clear.
Mm.
But it will be nice to have a continuity after this fourth place.
Mm.
I believe the team has the momentum,
Mm.
and if things go well, why not? It's not something that we cannot reach.
Mm.
But of course, it doesn't mean anything if you finish 9th or 10th or lower.
Yeah, there is always going to be, like, even if you have a disappointing time this time, there's always going to be the next EuroBowl, and you can do better there. But yeah, is there any particular sort of team or a matchup that you're either looking forward to or think is going to be particularly tough?
Okay, we have, let's say, one interesting matchup would be against Scotland and Austria because we have played them both our EuroBowl appearances, both in Wales and Malta. So it would be nice to face them a third time. Actually, we have split wins against both of them, so it will be a decider. The game who comes on top.
Yeah, best of
has
three.
the
Yeah,
more
yeah.
wins. Yeah, best of three exactly. And it would also be nice to play Australia. I think they have several players of Greek origin. Alex, is it correct? I think their captain also is of Greek origin.
Yes. That's what I believe
Yes.
also.
Other than that, many of our guys want, let's say, a rematch with Italy because we faced them in Malta in the first game, and it was in the first round, and it was our only loss there. In general, I think it would be nice to face some of the top teams of the powerhouses: England, Germany, France, Spain, Sweden. I think Sweden is also strong. Even Denmark, the defending champions. Because it's good for the experience, and it would also mean that we have got some good results if we play enough of the strong teams.
That's exactly what I would wish for the Greek team. Although I'm not playing, I would wish them to have strong opponents because this gives more experience, and this also means that you are high on the scoreboard. Although with stronger opponents, the results come tougher. But on the other side, it is a way to become better, to gain more experience, to see how better players or more experienced players cope up with difficulties and manage to bring results.
It is very like if you face off against a team that you know is strong, then it is a very useful sort of way to sort of measure yourself and to sort of see like just how good are we actually. Like if you can keep up with the strong teams, then you know that you are yourself strong.
Yeah, even a draw from a favorite means that you're in a very good position, and of course it creates problems to the strong team afterwards. But on the other side, it gives many points for strength of opponent.
Yeah, for the tiebreakers, it means.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have some experience now, thanks to Fumble against, let's say, the Blood Bowl elite, and it has been a positive experience for our community.
All right. If this would be the time, if you have any sort of closing statements, any messages you want to send out to anyone who might be watching or listening to this, please feel free.
No, I just want to welcome everyone to Athens. I hope we have a great time, win or lose, and to be a memorable experience, and see you all on the pitch, as we say in Blood Bowl.
From my side, I would like also to welcome everybody, and from the organizing community part, I would say, guys, please be early. We're expecting a lot of people, and it will help both players and the event move steadily. Thank you all for coming. Hope to meet everyone. I hope to be able to greet everyone and have a good time. And best results also for everyone. Bulgaria, it's your first time in a EuroBowl. I wish you the best. As I wish the best also for my team. I do not take a part. May the best win.
All right.
And thank you also for having us and giving us the opportunity to talk about our community.
Of course, my pleasure to have you. And once again, thank you for taking the time to be here. We were aiming for that 1 hour mark, and we're
Yeah,
an hour
it's
45 in.
impossible, I think.
It's
Yeah.
Blood Bowl is a very interesting game, and especially in like a team environment of like featuring so many strong teams and so many things to think about. But thank you for being here again. Like, thank you for taking the time. Hope you enjoyed. Hope everybody who was watching and listening had a good time as well. Hope you'll be here for the next one, which is going to be in an hour and 15 minutes, as I will be interviewing the Danish captain about his thoughts on EuroBowl and Blood Bowl as a whole, probably. And as I always say, thank you for watching, regardless of whether it's day, night, afternoon, evening, whatever is your time. Hope you had a good time. Hope you'll be here for the next one. Have a good one.